I don't want to keep them.
You're live.
All right. So good morning. Welcome to the Water and Sewer Committee. It is Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. Present today are Councilman Clunt and Councilman Schuyler, Water Superintendent Mark Liebrecht, City Attorney Paul Jensen, Finance Officer Chandra Phillips, and we'll be joined by Public Works Director Troy Kruger momentarily. Mark, you get the show. It's yours.
Mark, make sure your mic's on.
Just make sure it's pulled forward.
Thank you.
I've got a couple things this morning. Troy's will have most of this stuff on the back here. This last week we were started Friday. We had a sewer backup up on the between Roosevelt or between Truman and Eisenhower, between 8th and 9th Street. Ended up being a big rip ball. We were up there we got it open after about 4 hours on Friday. And then we were back in there yesterday for 4 hours.
Did you make copies?
Of that, yes.
You said that was a rut?
I think
That
he
was a
made
big
copies.
rip ball.
Okay.
We couldn't get through.
He made
with our
copies, Paul.
chain cutter. Our chain cutter didn't have enough power behind it to, every time it hit the rip ball, it would just stop. We would have to back it up and just kept working it in and stuff. We did that. We've tried different nozzles that we had. Finally, we got under the rip ball, so we got the flow over. Meanwhile, so we got the house, so they could drain it. We had to get a plumber in there to go take care of their sewer because it still wasn't draining. So then we hired Tony to go and clean it up. He was there yesterday. But that truck that was almost too much for that truck that we had. Just not enough power. Guess I'll let Troy do his thing.
When you say hire somebody to clean it, the city hires somebody, this is
Yeah.
our problem?
Yeah, it was our problem.
Have we got a bill on that yet?
No.
Okay.
It'll be 4,000,
It'll be how much?
4,000 or 5,000.
4,000 or 5,000? Okay.
Is that pretty accurate?
So, I think
For what?
last time that's about what it was last time.
For them to clean that house.
The water restoration
Oh,
basement
no, it'll
cleanup.
be less than, probably around $1,000. It was concrete down there. I thought it was carpet
Oh.
when she sent me the pictures. It's just a concrete floor, so I just wanted them to go in there and disinfect and just do a quick cleanup, but there wasn't any carpet or furniture or anything that got
Okay.
damaged. I talked to her a little bit this afternoon, or yesterday afternoon, and it was a kind of a quick cleanup, but anytime you have raw sewage on the floor, it's a good idea to treat that appropriately.
How much was the plumber gonna be then to clean out the rest of the sewer line?
We went in it Friday afternoon, and we broke through the root ball and pulled back quite a bit. We're thinking that the root ball where the roots are coming in is right at her service where it connects to our sewer. Because we measured it out, it was like 130 feet, and we kind of measured it out with the wheel. There's a counter on the Vector truck, but it's just a click counter, you know, it's not like it's super duper accurate, but it matched up pretty closely with where her service would have connected to our sewer pipe, and that's not uncommon in clay tile. They're not 100% sealed up. So, so the difference between this one and, you know, where we have to kind of draw the line, I guess, this one, for example, we had a sewer up here, just west of Lamro, and what happened there was the sewer just collapsed, and a couple sections of pipe just gave in. They just caved in, they collapsed. That would be considered like an act of God, you know, or they call it, that's what protects us, our insurance, and we have no control over that, what happens there. We went in, fixed it. In this instance, with this circumstance, we had the same problem at this same residence last December, day after Christmas or something like that.
Yeah.
We went up there, ran through it, and got it opened up, and then we never went back. So it's kind of our fault, and so we needed to take responsibility for this one. It is open now. We don't know where the problem is exactly. I didn't follow up with Mark. Did you guys get back up there with your camera yesterday?
Yep, it ended up being an old service, an abandoned service. Is what it was. Is where most of the ripples are coming. There was a few around her service line.
An abandoned service from a vacant lot?
No,
Oh,
somebody replaced their sewer and
we didn't get to inspect and make
we
sure.
inspected, but they went to a different spot. Or they broke in to a different spot. And so that one looked good.
And
But this abandoned one,
That's not uncommon. I mean, we have those all over town with these old clay tile pipes. I mean, you're going back a lot of years, you know, 70, 80 years, where people had sewer issues with their own sewer service, and instead of digging up the old sewer, they just moved down 5 feet and dug in a new sewer. And we don't have anything in the books that says that we require that they dig up and terminate the old sewer service. So,
we make them cap it
Yeah, so I was gonna say, you have to cap it though, don't you, once you,
once
Dead.
they're at the house, but that doesn't.
you don't deaden it to the main.
we don't require that they dig up the old service and recap it.
Okay.
So that, I mean, we don't have anything on, like, we have no ordinance or anything that says that they have to dig up that old service and terminate it, you know, remove the old service, repair the pipe.
Should we have that type of I mean, what would your recommendation be, just off the cuff?
Well, whenever you dig up old clay tile, whenever you dig up a clay tile sewer and you disturb the dirt around it, you're always asking for trouble, because when you go to backfill it in, there's always the possibility that it's, you know, it could collapse. Just because of the age of, age of the pipe.
Yeah.
Sometimes, they are a big hindrance to us. That, used to be kind of a common practice back in the day. They'd just stick a pipe in 3-4 inches, and then they would leave it like that. Well, now, fast forward, 30, 40 years, we have cameras and we have equipment that can actually go up into that sewer pipe and inspect it, and now we can't get past those because they weren't done right. There was just a 4-inch piece of pipe stuck into our 8-inch sewer, and if it goes, if it's overhanging in that sewer pipe 2 or 3 inches, we can't get past it with our camera. We can't get past it with our chain cutter. We can't get, there's a lot of tools that we have that now it's a hindrance to us. We can't do anything with it. So we do have an ordinance in place that when we inspect it, they can't have anything that's, we actually have a specific type of option for them to use to connect to that sewer. So we don't have that anymore. So.
Right.
There's such a thing that this house here, where that abandoned sewer was, that might have been abandoned back in the 40s or 50s, you know, and a new house put up there and they put a new line in or something, you know. It's not, it's clay tile, old clay tile service line, so it's probably 40s.
So when you talk about you cut out the root ball now and cleared that out, do you have any method by which you protect against future development of that same root ball at that location?
Reline the sewer.
If you reline it, that'll keep those from punching in.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then there's no opening. You have a solid pipe again with the services, just the services that are on that block, so. Is it 100% that roots can't get in when they run a liner through there? They put the liner in the pipe. First they go through and they clean the pipe, they inspect the pipe, and then they go through and they locate each one of those services. And then they come out, they put their liner in, they go back down. So all the old services that were there before are now, there's no opening into the pipe.
They're sealed.
They're eliminated. They cut out the services that are active. And so it's got a little saw on the tractor, and it saws a 4-inch hole. And they know, you know, where the angle is. They've got, their equipment's pretty accurate. But you still have an old service into our sewer.
Yep.
So they're at the services themselves, there still is the possibility that roots can get in, you know, into those. So we do have, we buy every year, we buy root cleaner, it's a root treatment, foaming root treatment, just for that purpose. But that's one of those things that's ongoing. You need to keep treating it and keep treating it and keep treating it. Unless you can take the tree down or the bush down or whatever it is, and you know, that's there. We've had to do that before, you know. It's like, if it's just a overgrown somebody's bush in an alleyway, and it's more in our alleyway than it is in their, you know, in the property, or it's wild, you know, it just grew there
Yep.
naturally, we go in and remove it. And
Sure.
take it out, which I think that's what it is in this case. The one growing around that telephone pole, I think, is the culprit, but, yeah, that's just kind of the nature of the beast when you have, you know, the Vector truck it's a invaluable tool for maintaining our sewer system, and we are 100% responsible for the sewers. So, when you have clay tile sewers and you have, you know, and you have roots protruding into them and you have all that kind of stuff, offsets because they've been in there for so long, old services, about the only tool that we don't run with that backer truck is an actual tractor that can saw, go in and remove like those protruding services that are into our sewer main. But there's a lot of things that backer truck can do, and it's, as long as we have old clay tile sewers, and you're always gonna get plugged, you know, I mean, you're always gonna have sewer problems. Somebody's gonna, I mean, we've pulled baseball bats, spades, hundreds of toy cars, pants, shirts, you name it, we've pulled it out of our sewer mains. I mean, it's crazy how much stuff makes it through your sanitary sewers, and the crazier part is how much stuff makes it down to that lift station and doesn't plug up somewhere along the way. But we know that we've pulled 6 pairs of pants in one day out of one of our sewer pumps, and we know those pants came from the PD, from the jail. How they made it from that building to that building down there is, without plugging up a sewer main, is
Unbelievable.
mind-boggling, but they did it, and you name it, we've about pulled it out of the sewers in this town. So that truck is, it's pretty, you know.
It's a need, not a want.
You got, yeah, I mean, either that or you're looking at an outside service to come in. So, and to give you, Gregory has a truck now. They didn't before. I think they just got that truck here in the last 4 or 5 years. Your next nearest place is Wagner. There's a company out of Wagner that has a truck, and there's a company out of Mitchell. Those are your two, and they're privately owned, so if it's after 5 or, whatever, they don't have to come here. They can say no. And then you have sewage backing up into people's basements and all kinds of good stuff. We are, just because of where we're located, it's kind of tough. Yeah, it's really not a want. You gotta have it.
Okay. Budget-wise, how are we sitting on our debt load?
Depends on how you do this. Are you planning to pay for it outright? Are you planning to do a loan? Are you planning to do a lease?
You're not gonna see it till 2025.
All of that plays into it. I
Into
mean, if
it.
you're paying cash, it doesn't affect your debt
No.
load. If you do a loan, 100% affects your debt load, which we have over $1 million about borrowing power. By 2025, we'll probably be closer to, $2 million at that point in time, but,
We'll be close to 4 million.
2025? What are we sitting, how much can we borrow, I guess, is the next
so it
question.
changes every year.
Does
It's
it?
5% of what the city's taxable value is.
Okay,
So the taxable value comes from the county, and that's based off of growth plus CPI.
okay.
And so we have to, it gets refigured every
Every
year.
year.
There were a couple years ago that our taxable value went very, very high. So it really jumped up what our borrowing power was because, well, homes were being reevaluated.
Okay.
And they're still being reevaluated, and so that's still coming through, and they're adding that growth now. Even without the additional payoffs by 2025, I would say we'd be just under 2 million or right around 2 million borrowing power. With leases, and again, I'm going to speak to what the law is now. The law now, which they're looking at changing it, that
Well, they
leases
are.
would count against your constitutional debt.
They're going to, or they?
They're looking at that
Okay.
because they found that a lot of cities went to leasing without this special clause in there that says can back out if any time, any point in time, if budget or revenues or whatever don't
Support it.
correct.
Right.
And a lot of leases don't have that language in it, and that's required by state statute. So,
Would that be grandfathered in, or would that be retroactive then, if the law was passed to?
if the law was passed, it would be retroactive, or
It would-
grandfathered. I
it'd
go
be-
by what you're saying, grandfathered in. Any previous loans wouldn't,
Wouldn't
leases
count.
wouldn't
Yeah.
count against you.
Yeah.
What's our borrowing power?
Right now, it's a little over $1 million. I'd
Oh,
say.
no, total
Total.
value.
Oh,
If you had 100% constitutional debt load, is it 6 million?
I'm thinking closer to 7,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
So we're.
In our
6
constitutional,
million.
So you still have $1 million on the pool bond, which will be paid off in 2027, which I realize that seems, it's just shy of $1 million. And then you're still at $3 million on your jail bond. You did just pay off a loan for the Peterbilt this year, and you've got a couple other loans that count against us out there for around $1 million.
what's our constitutional debt load right now, percentage-wise? 68?
I hate, this isn't an exact number, but from what I remember, it's right around 70, yeah.
Yeah. So you take 30% from that, it
That's what
was
we
6 million. We had about 1.8.
Okay.
I didn't send that.
I just don't want
Couple
to,
big ones,
Couple big ones in the sewer department.
Yeah, there's
Pay
some,
off in 2028, which I know is down the road, but 4 years out.
we have two SRF loans. One is the sewer relining, or the sewer building down there when we rebuilt that, and the other one is 8th Street. If there was-
Only one of those counts against us because the other one, we have a surcharge on our accounts. So if it's a surcharge loan, then it doesn't count against our constitutional debt.
But you gotta raise your rates.
In order to
So
take
it
that
doesn't.
loan, right?
Well,
So it's $1.30 surcharge for, or excuse me, it's $1.30 surcharge for a water SRF that we have, and then it's $3 for a sewer rural development that we have.
Okay.
Your street rural development, that's one of the loans that is counting against us right now because you can't do a street surcharge.
Okay, yeah, correct, okay.
What, the backhoe lease in 2024, next year that ends,
Yeah,
is the plan to keep that backhoe?
You put it in the budget to purchase it.
Yeah, but we didn't put a $500,000 truck in there, so things may change, is what I'm
Sure.
saying.
that one is actually, was leased through the sewer department, but it's primarily used by the cemetery. Yeah, we have two backhoes right now. We have that John Deere backhoe. The problem with that John Deere backhoe is they discontinued it. They're not making it anymore. But I mean, that's what we use to dig graves with. I mean, 100% of our graves now, we use that backhoe, so. Getting some age on the case, that's, yeah, this truck makes,
I don't remember that.
Change things up if we buy it. I
One
don't
thing
see where
I've,
it won't.
I understand where you're going, and I think what we all need to do, we gotta close out this highway project in this year. I think by January 1, we have a really good idea of how both of these enterprise funds sit as we close out the year.
yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things, and my hesitation of doing anything right now is until we get this water, your sewer's based off your water usage, so. Until we get this-
Meters, yeah?
Until we get this water deal, all these meters changed out, and we have a good solid idea what our revenues are coming in on water, that's kind of something that has to be, seriously considered. I mean, our water revenues were way down last year. We know why.
Yep.
So they've already come back, just the few meters, just the few meters that we've done, we've already seen a rebound in our revenues in water, so we need to continue. I mean, we need to get that water meter project knocked out as soon as we can and see where our revenues are sitting from there.
Okay,
We're
so,
gonna have some extra money off the highway project.
so talking about the meters at this point, gentlemen, how many have we received and how many have we installed? Received is more important to me because we were supposed to have them all by mid-October. And I know we've got an agreement to take them trickling in. How many meters do we have?
We've currently installed around 400,
Over 400.
and we have 2 boxes that just came in the other day again, so
We've got
there's
11 boxes total.
27 in a box,
Yep,
radios.
yep, we've got 11 boxes right now. So we've got almost 300 of it on hand. But we start hitting that hard, that 300 is gonna,
Gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
How many are we short?
You have 1,200 services plus another, 400 to 600 businesses?
1,600?
We ordered like 1,800 radios.
Okay.
We've gotten between 700 and 800 now.
So we got a third, well,
A little over 40%,
Yeah,
yeah.
40.
They're shipping us to them, as they get them, they're shipping. We're getting 2 or 3 boxes.
That's a question I didn't ask the other day when we had electrical. Are they receiving more? Have they got more of their meters?
All the electrical stuff's 100%. We have 100% of that.
100% of
Yeah,
that?
we're not short anything on the electrical side.
Okay,
Receive those immediately.
gotcha. Just double checking, making sure I understand.
By the way, we need to notify our insurance how many are in there because we do have those additionally insured for sitting in that warehouse. So now that they're getting out and about, we need to tell our insurance that too.
So you're thinking January 1st, Troy, is the best time to move on this?
No.
I don't think you need to decide how to fund it at all today. I think, what Mark's asking you today is just permission to order, to get the truck on order. We will not see it, if you order it today, we will not see it until 2025.
Are we obligated? Now, yesterday, when we sat through the committee, and unfortunately, I wasn't recorded, Mr. Jensen, it was your legal opinion that committee could go ahead and allow the Public Works Director to put us on a list, but if we decline it, they can't hold us to it.
Correct. In order for that all to jurisdictionally occur that way, yes.
So this committee has the authority to put our name on a list, to put us in order, and then if that truck comes available, then it becomes a discussion with full council to actually do the final purchase. If council says no as a full council,
As I'm
we are
looking,
not obligated.
as I'm looking through this particular contract, though, there is some obligation there in this contract. And because of that, and I had this
Okay.
discussion with Troy briefly this morning, that if we were to proceed with this contract, it's going to necessarily require full council with authorization.
Okay.
Unless they could put on there that the city can back out at any point in time if budget doesn't allow, correct? If they added that in there, would that be,
I'd be closer to saying yes. I'd have to look at that again to see if there's a couple of sticking points in this
that was the main line?
in this contract. That would be the main one. There are a couple of other places. One probably, and maybe this is industry standard that I'm just not familiar with, but I see a provision in this contract that says, while we're between the time that we've put our name on the list and got a tentative agreement for them supplying it way down the road whenever, if their supply costs go up, so does the cost of our property. And once they tell us that, we've got a short window in time to reject it, otherwise it's assumed that we agree to this increase. So
That's the other thing with this quote is, this quote's good for 30 days.
That's what I saw too.
At the terms and the conditions that, the prices that he gave us on this quote. Next time you see this quote,
it'll be
it's
different.
not gonna be the same price. Right. It's gonna go up. Right.
So this is only the buyout price, can they send us what it costs to lease?
That's what I was wanting to know. What's the difference between leasing it?
I brought that to the last time
Yeah.
we met, and I didn't, but this is a more expensive truck.
Yeah. Because that's a double chassis.
It's on source file. You could,
This one, this is gonna be the biggest. The other one was like $498,000. It was just shy of 500. This truck was $23,000 more. You get more water holding capacity, you get a little bit more, for $23,000, it was kind of a no-brainer to go with the next step up when you're gonna spend that kind of money. But,
Had you looked at a lease on
I
these?
think it was
Yeah,
like
there was a-
100,000 a
Okay,
year.
Scott.
I thought it was
there was
120.
3 options on this truck were,
Yeah, over 5.
Because we talked about doing cash on hand.
Because I think with the financing of the lease, the purchase price was $498. The 5-year lease took it up to a cost of about $600, $610, which is that 120, 124
With
range
interest.
with interests on it.
The
I
other
think,
thing
I
do
think
want-
Austin did the quick math last time we met, and it was like 70,000 more.
Yeah, it was quite a bit more, but I just didn't know if it still meant on this truck, if it was the same as the old one.
It'd be pretty close. I would.
This quote includes more than just the source well price. So it also says in here that there is unapproved special requests on top of the source well. So there would be some bidding required at that point in time too.
And maybe nobody else bids, I don't know, but.
Most likely they won't, but we would still have to
we
follow
would
the
be
process.
required to go through the steps.
What is that?
So Sourcewell only includes the identical that they make everything, and this quote says that there are special requests on here too, above and beyond Sourcewell. So therefore, Sourcewell, yes, we can get the Sourcewell discount price, but we would still have to do the bidding for the extra special requests.
And this,
Does it point out what those requests are?
I don't know what they are,
I
I
don't-
don't have that information.
I don't see them in this printout here.
It just has it on the back page that there are
Correct.
special requests.
It does.
I would like to know what they are.
I don't think we've ever had to go through that process.
So that's something that our auditors pointed out to us this year.
They
that
did.
they are, companies are staying at Sourcewell, but then allowing people to purchase above and beyond. And now cities are getting in trouble for not following the bid laws with it. So it's something that auditors, the state, everyone is watching out for. So it is something that we have to be careful with.
We do not have to go with sanitation products and Sourcewell. We could use, I mean, we need to research this to find, to get our best buy. Minnesota State bid was where I would go to look and see, you know, Minnesota's gonna have, they're gonna have trucks. They've got, you know, that would be, I guess that would be my suggestion is if we're, you know, once we get close to this buying, and who knows with Minnesota State bid, what their time frame is. We're just talking about one company right here, and that's his time frame. I have not researched this yet. I will dig into it this week and find answers to questions and get everything drawn out, but I guess I would go, maybe Minnesota State bid, maybe we don't have to order a truck in 2023 that we're gonna get in 2025. But the thing with Minnesota State bid is, and it should work fine for this truck. If they bid it out, spec it out, that's what you get. You don't, no add-ons, no extras, no nothings. You buy it off Minnesota State bid, you buy what they bid out.
Okay.
That's the way Sourcewell is too. But I would like to know off this, what are the unapproved special requests?
Right.
It doesn't ever specify, it was running through all the,
It doesn't.
We didn't, this is a basic Vector truck. We did not add on anything. We didn't change their
That's what I
specs
was
in any way,
wondering.
shape, or form than this is the 2100i Vector. That's what he gave us a quote on. There's no bells and whistles on this one other than what comes with that particular equipment package.
what's our cash on hand in water sewer?
I need to get that figured once we officially do, so once your ordinance that you guys did first reading of, and then we'll do second reading next Monday, once that's all officially approved and not referred and all those fun things, then I need to get that figured out for you. I'll have a
Okay.
better understanding of it beginning of December,
Okay.
because there'll be a few things that we'll have to do. Once the highway project is closed out, then any excess money from the outlays that were specifically set aside for that project can go back into cash on hand.
Okay.
But we can't do that until the highway project is
It's
closed
closed
out.
out.
Now, one thing that Jake mentioned the last time he was here is, yes, the city can say our portion is closed out, but we won't be able to officially sign off on it until the state says their portion is signed out too, because it is a dual project. So it may not happen until 2024 as well.
Okay.
But I'll still know what's in outlay versus just cash on hand too. So,
We can, basically what we're waiting for on the highway project is substantial completion. Once we have substantial completion, and what that means is that they've done everything we've asked them to do. We're withholding payments at this point because we don't have a whole lot of payments left to make. So we'll go through and we'll make sure all the valves work, all the curb stops work. We can get on them, we can turn them. Everything that they've asked us, that is in our portion of the contract for Northern Plains to do has been done. And then, once we're satisfied with that, the Hall Road's complete. So that's the part that everybody was worried about, that was gonna hang up this whole thing. Then we'll be billed out through Reedy Construction, and then but we'll know that final number. I mean, should be able to say, yeah,
Okay.
we owe this amount, and this is what's left to pay. But I still need word from Jordan that Northern Plains and that Reedy Construction is done with the sidewalks, they're done with the flat work, so that we can go back and test all of our curb stops, and that's, I mean, that's the biggest thing for us. They do owe us a manhole. We have a manhole over on the, that has to be installed, and that's probably, a day job. But we do need to get that completed before we'll sign off on the project.
Are they putting the manhole in, or are we doing it?
They put it in.
Okay.
But I have to move a telephone pole before that happens.
Okay.
It's not just as easy as putting a manhole in.
We need to move around a few things.
Got to figure out who owns some property so we can cut down some trees and route some wires and. But Jake has it on my, he sent me an email the other day. He's got everything figured out and pretty much, to within pretty, it's gonna be down to a couple $1,000s,
Okay.
with his costs included.
Okay. So there's no reason to put this to full council yet, not for next meeting, next Monday?
I'd like to have an idea where our cash on hand is. If we move those outlays, are we in a position to close out those outlays with the project coming to an end?
I'd want to verify with you, but I think that the state has to be signed off that the project is complete too.
Before you
And
move
we- As we know with phase one, we just signed off on phase one.
2
4
years
months
later.
ago.
Yeah.
That's a good
So
point. Good
I think we have to wait to utilize that outlay into cash because that's what the resolution was.
That's probably right.
And it'll be another resolution that council approves to close them out.
Which happens in that
Right.
It's gonna be
So
20.
my guess will be it'll be 2024 unless they have a phenomenal weather for the rest of the year, but they're still gonna be doing some grass work next year, I would assume, correct?
Yeah, they're not gonna,
So that outlay money won't be available till next year for anything other than the highway project.
Cash on hand outlay.
I just
Like
don't
to see
want
the Minnesota
deplete
State bid.
our water sewer fund with cash on hand in case we have an emergency.
I'll be closed out for
If our revenues are
October
solid,
tomorrow.
I'm good.
You're good with
For
it?
2 years, we've been,
Pretty consistent?
No.
number? No. Oh, you were
No.
talking when we get the meters in.
correct.
It's been going down progressively since 2017
Right.
on revenues on the water, on the metered water side. But it's starting to go back up.
That is the trend. Tomorrow we'll know a lot more. Once we close out October. Okay, more work to do. But good examples. And time is of the essence. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Don't drag it too far along, right?
How old is the old one?
20 years. It's in
20 years?
2004, I believe. We've gotten our use out of it. I've got one other thing. This one's not quite as expensive as that.
That's good.
This one's only about $5,000. It's a jetter nozzle that will help us with the cutting through the roots and stuff like that. It's, there's different kinds of them, but this is called a Warthog. It's what HydroClean's using and all these other companies are using. It's gonna run about 5,000.
That's on you.
Yeah.
All we need is 3 quotes if you can get 3 quotes. If you
Okay,
can't,
I just-
get it ordered.
Okay.
If you want it,
Yeah, we need it, but there's.
need it,
It comes in a 1 inch and a 3/4 inch. So you get the new truck, that's gonna be a 1 inch hose. What we have now is a 3/4 inch hose. So go with the 1 inch hose and
so what's the value? I know this has been asked before, and I don't know that I heard the answer. There's gotta be a value for our old truck. I don't see a trade,
He's saying 40 to 50,000.
40 to 50,000. If we put this up to a public, we surplus it, does it bring more than 40 to 50?
I have no idea.
Just because of the truck and the chassis? You're the chassis and the truck guy. Is that truck,
Not big enough to, you
Not-
know, put a fifth wheel on it. I mean, it's not.
I'm just curious.
Probably better. My guess would be best off trading, you know,
Okay.
in that situation.
One of the big drawbacks to this truck is the rear end that it has in it. It's geared so low. Top speed on it's like 53 mile an hour.
I heard they complained it took a half hour to get to Hamel to use it.
It takes
On a
4
private
hours, it takes
property.
almost 4 hours to get to Sioux Falls and that thing, to go
Okay.
get it worked on. I mean, that's gonna kill you with any farmer or anybody that, if they have to take that thing down, if that's their business, is taking it up and down the road, they're not gonna waste the money on it. They're not
Okay.
gonna.
It's a cheap change though. $2,500, you put a different gear ratio in it.
I'm just wondering if we surplus it and see, we can refuse all bids, right? If our trade offer's better, but
well, there's one company that's interested in it. If we put it on surplus.
okay.
If it's in good working condition, I mean, some small town, like, that doesn't have a budget for $500,000 truck is gonna snatch that thing right up because what they can afford,
So do we know what the repair, have we had them look at repairing this? I know it's too small and we want to get bigger to handle the problems we have, but if we put these the repairs into
If
it,
we fix a PTO,
Well,
if we,
we haven't had it to Sioux Falls. Luckily, we didn't have it there
right?
because of this rip ball. That's our
Right.
problem. So when it goes there, we have problems and we're
could we take it
calling in
local
somebody else.
to fix like the PTO,
Did you ask if there's somebody local?
local that we could take it to? We could have them look at it, at least
Would have,
Mathis.
yeah, somebody did.
You ordered some parts for it.
We've got some valves ordered for it, and they shipped us some, but they were the wrong ones. Vector's having problems finding the valves that we have on this truck. Their truck, they discontinued that. So they're having problems finding something that'll match up with it for those valves that are going out.
Do I even want to surplus that to another town then?
Yeah.
Do we want to have it as a backup?
They're still looking, so if they find it, we're gonna replace it, and then
There's a lot of different things to consider with this one. I'd like to see the Minnesota state bids. On one page, it says this is the standard Vector bid, and then on that back page, it does say,
Yeah.
the second to last page, it says on there, unapproved special request, but if you didn't request anything and you just said,
Yeah.
I'd like them to point out the difference between the state bid and what's special on this. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we have to know before we make a decision. I'm not putting it off. I don't think this should go to
No,
council
I don't think we need to
yet.
be dragging it.
We need 2 weeks to get this information.
okay.
That puts us right after Thanksgiving. if we get that information,
But our bid won't be good much longer after that. We'd have to rebid it or get a new quote. This is good till.
according to
first-
this, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Price goes up between the time we accept it and they build it, we're gonna pay for the price difference anyhow, so we're at their mercy. They don't have to honor this, according to this document.
Correct.
I guess I need to know what way you guys are leaning. I mean, I've put this information together, we've looked at it. Now we're back to, are we going to do it or are we not going to do it? Are we asking ourselves the right question here? Are you guys looking at doing this or are you not looking at doing this? Because if you're looking at doing it, I will, I'll put all the information together again, we'll go through this. The other thing I guess we need to decide is, what amount of money are you willing to spend? Like, what's your cutoff? Like, 498,000, are you willing to go up to the
15.
to the bigger truck, or do you think it's necessary? Do you want something similar to just a new model of what we have? That one was like 350,000, I think.
Last time we checked, it was a couple months ago.
But what you guys are telling me, at least I'm taking out of it, is we need it. The one that we have right now is not doing the job. It's old.
Told it's,
Well, it needs updated. I mean, it did the job, it's done the job for 21 years,
Yeah.
or 20 years.
yeah.
Okay.
But
I mean, that's quite a bit of difference between 350 and 523,000. I mean,
Correct.
But I think they need to, there's missing information. There's no comparison to like the Minnesota state bid. The other thing is there's no trade-in value. They really, does 50,000 make a difference on if they jump to the next model versus staying with the small one? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 60,000. There's a lot of, I think they're considering it.
Yeah, I'm definitely
The
considering.
one thing I think everybody
a
realizes,
newer truck, I still wanna know what it's gonna cost to rehab the one we got.
right, if we can even get the parts.
we gave you that,
That one was-
we had that price.
No, not on paper,
Over 400,000, I gave a sheet last time.
Yeah.
for the new truck.
Yeah.
No, it was
rehab.
it was
It
all
was
the
a
equipment, it was
rehab.
all the pieces that we
Oh, I
needed,
didn't get that.
that we had to rehab. It was like,
Yeah, it was-
it's like 300 some thousand dollars.
Yeah.
He had it all broke down
I
on,
thought that was the price for a new truck, the same that we have.
that was to rebuild, that price was to rebuild our current truck.
it was,
So what's the price of a current, truck, just like what we have, brand new?
About the same
about
price.
350,000.
And they'll
That-
give us
that was the
50,000
one we-
trade more money ahead.
Come.
If they will. I mean, I want to know.
Yeah.
And, from what Ben was telling us with the company is, they've been going up between 7 and 10% a year in price.
Sure, that falls in line with CPI, what's happening there. The other thing, and I'm sorry to keep you guys,
No, you're fine.
but you look at the comparison and what this thing has done for us over the last 20 years versus what it costs to go in and replace a block or 2 blocks of clay tile. If this can help us not have to replace that, what's it save us in damages or disrupting and putting in new pipe? I know we want to replace everything right away, but this allows us time to put together better decisions on, do we do it or do we just line it? A lot of things. Water and sewer's tough because it's below ground and we don't see it. We don't see the
count it until it's
damage.
not working.
Right, until it's in your basement.
And then you're mad at the world, so. No, I think, Austin, what do you think? I mean, I think we probably need to replace it.
Check other places, yeah, find out what they'll give us for this one. Minnesota State bid, find out what's saying is unapproved.
Yeah, let's go with apples to apples, replace what we have now.
Like
We
this-
have the
this quote
quote.
doesn't give us lease prices on
Yeah.
this truck.
If it's 120,000 a year and our revenues are up,
Kind of a no-brainer.
yeah. We gained, I think last month we gained like 5.8% on our revenues in 1 month.
You want to bring it back to committee?
Yes.
You want to come back to
Unless you
committee?
have all the information, then we can go to contractual issue on Monday night after the meeting.
Exec session?
Well, I think committee should give the direction. I can certainly be prepared to take the
So bring it back to
provisions of
committee
the
2 weeks from
contract to council.
I think so. Committee, not in exec. Let's keep this public and transparent. Let's do it through the committee in 2 weeks. And then all you're looking at then is what, 4 days until it goes to full council? So
Correct.
we're looking at 18 days to full council if we get all that information. Minnesota.
So and the tough thing, I mean, I can get, like, Minnesota State Bid is starting to put out some of their bid numbers for 2024 stuff right now, but I'm probably only gonna be able to use 2020, I'll have to see if I can find a Vector off Minnesota State Bid, but that number is gonna be for 2023.
That's fine.
Minnesota State Bid comes out, you know, yearly with,
See you, Austin.
Rehab price, get that back to these guys so that they can see that again. Make it separate. These are the two bids. This is to rehab. Then I think we need our trade value too. What do they give us? If they give us $50,000 on it, does that entice these guys from jumping from the same build to the next level, which is what you're talking about?
Well, you're talking $120,000 difference between the current model to an upgraded model.
This one's 512. You take
Yeah, but
50 off it,
50,000 off that.
462 to 400 to rehab it.
Correct.
62,000.
Difference.
They'll do that if that 20 years, if we get 20 years off it at 3,000 a year, makes sense to jump.
Go bigger.
Just give them the information. I think they're close to,
we'll give it to you all in one meeting this time.
Yeah.
yeah.
Instead of stringing it out over 2 months.
I don't see a problem with, we're gonna have to replace it. I mean, or rehab it, one of the two. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I'm not
that's
willing to
it.
let our water and sewer suffer
Yeah.
underground,
If you rehab it,
if this helps.
sales said it's only gonna be worth 30 to 50,000, even if you put 300,000 in.
correct. Don't, yeah, you're just throwing bad money in my opinion.
So
I
just
can't speak
trade
for
the dang
everybody.
thing, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what,
You have to own a Vector truck. I mean, you have to have one.
You have,
in
we
the
have
city.
to. There's not a question if we can.
You don't have we don't live in Sioux Falls or Rapid City where we can outsource that service. We don't have that option. So
Correct.
you have to have that truck. The money we looked into the parts. The money, it's gonna cost damn near, it's gonna cost almost as much to rebuild that truck as it is to purchase a new one.
Correct. That's last figures I saw.
Because basically what you're doing is you're gonna be taking all of our old parts off of that and putting on current. You're gonna update it. So if we go that route, and that's totally up to you guys. The truck itself does not have that many miles on it. The chassis and the truck are in fine condition. It's the equipment on it that are wearing out. If you wanna go that route, if you want to purchase another
That's
truck.
dumb at that point, if you can do it at the same
Yeah, no,
price.
if you can do it for same price for a new one or rebuild one, to
It's
me,
not gonna be that much more.
Yeah,
But
no.
if you wanna spend the $350,000 on a new truck, or if you, like Mark's saying, some of the tools and stuff that go with, that truck has got capabilities, 2,000 PSI, 300 foot, or what can we get on there, 360 feet of hose,
yeah, or 400 feet.
400 feet. So there's some limitations to what that truck can do. It's been a good truck for 20 years. It's done what we've asked it to do. But now that, they're making bigger trucks, they're making them, the truck that he was talking about that he brought to you today goes up to 4,000 PSI, 600 foot of hose.
plus the water
Twice the water
storage.
capacity.
Yep.
So that gives him the ability to run all the tools and all the, the chain cutter, the root cutter, all the different tools that go with it and do a lot, But on the other hand, we're relying on sewers, at a pretty fast pace over the last 5 years. We've got 3/4 of the sewers in our town redone. The ones that are PVC, we don't have to worry about really to speak of. The ones that are relined, but still have the old services into them, yeah, occasionally you're still gonna have some root problems. You're gonna have to go in and and do some maintenance on those sewers once in a while. But, I mean, that's the difference is, we'll lay it all out. I've never heard anyone say to date, yes, we need a new truck, or no, we don't need a new truck. So, we've spread this information out over like a month and a half,
Yep.
and we haven't given it to y'all in one, so you can lay it out and look at it all in
Yeah.
one shot, but.
You guys are telling us we need one, and I'm going with what you guys are telling me, so.
We just need that information
Yeah,
in
I
one
think we
shot,
need,
Troy.
I think we need the same size truck, new, and this, we already have what's, for what the upgrade is.
Give us the upgrade, same size truck, rehab, give
Yeah.
us state
Give
bid.
us three things. Give us
versus
same size
Minnesota's.
truck, a rehab, and we already have this, so all we need is two more things.
Trade value.
That note, on the pool recirculation pump, call the company, they don't, it's not a combo deal anymore. If we get the one that they have, we're gonna have to change out our screen system and all that to get it replumbed. They can piece it back together, order this piece and this piece, put it together so it fits what we have now. So it's just take one out, throw another one in, and we're up and running, no matter if half hour.
Your pool budget's pretty much spent for the year.
I thought we had quite a bit in there yet. I guess I'll
January 1st.
January 1st.
get the quote.
Yeah, January 1st, Mark will start over.
You still have a couple months of utilities to come out of there, and so
Just
it's,
one more month of utilities. There'll only be one more month of utility payments out of everyone's budgets.
it's getting down there pretty close.
Did you kill it? All right.
Oh, right here, I got